Welcome to Comment Wars, the series where I take your questions and hot takes about warrior cats and respond to them directly in a video. If you want the chance to see yourself in the next Comment Wars, drop a comment down below. Just be sure to leave it at one question/hot take per person on each video. Let's see what you all had to say. I really hate how repetitive this series is. I know this is a really popular opinion, and it's not at all that original, but I really don't like it. I like the newest book, River, and I found it to be fairly good. I haven't read anything past Omen of the Stars, except for River. I know that a series can only go on for so long, and Warriors is no exception, but please, just end it. Please let this be the last arc. Please, Aaron Hunter. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you here, but there's actually a fair bit of evidence that says that just isn't going to be their plan. In fact, Warrior Cats is probably far from being over anytime soon. If we take a look at the bindings of all of the new books, along with the reprints, and then combine them together with the background art that Warriors has used for some of its most recent novella collections, we could see that it all starts to form a bigger picture. And this is no coincidence either. You see, the thing is, the art for the backgrounds of the new novella covers and the bindings on all of the main series books are both the same. Let's take a look at our most recent example. As of November 2021, the Broken Code arc of Warrior Cats concluded with its initial release beginning publication all the way back in 2019, with that first book being Lost Stars. Put together, this is what the bindings of all 6 of the books look like. And here's the back of Legends of the Clans, a novella collection published in 2017, 2 years before the Broken Code began. It may surprise you to realize that these two are exactly the same, even in spite of their difference in age. The same picture being spread out across the Broken Code for its entire 2-year run cycle as the current arc, and Legends of the Clans having it for a whopping 4 years before the Broken Code even ended. Sorry for the quality, by the way. I had to take both of these pictures with my phone. I know that this image I made here is by no means perfect because I had to compile a bunch of pictures, so please absolutely take this with a grain of salt. This is purely speculation at the end of the day, even with all of this in mind. With there still being 2 pieces of binding art that we've yet to see out of the ones that they've shown us, we know that there's probably at least one more arc after A Starless Clan. And there's also a high likelihood of there potentially even being 2 or 3 left to go if you look at where River is at and how the sun and moon rise and fall in the image. You can even cross-check this with your own copy of River if you have a physical edition, by the way. Given, though, that they have changed where the sun and moon are in the past in these pictures, and if we consider the fact that the last group of arcs by their bindings, the prophecies begin to Dawn of the Clans, is only 5 arcs long. If A Vision of Shadows is to be the first arc in this new set, it'll be complete in 2 arcs after A Starless Clan is finished, not 3. That is to say, the story for the main timeline could absolutely end with A Starless Clan, or they could give this new set the same treatment like with how they handled Dawn of the Clans, and that they could make the last arc another prequel series, or maybe even a time skip into the future. Either way, I can probably say for certain that unless something happens, Warrior Cats is still going to be around for a long time, and for yet another series or 2 even after this one. I hope the A Starless Clan arc is used as a reset arc. Get rid of all the leaders, all the medicine cats, and possibly warriors that have been around for a long time. Well, I bet you didn't like hearing what I just had to say now, did you? I still hope that you're right anyway. As for a hot take, I've always enjoyed the traveling books. IMO, it's nice to take a break from the clans and have the cats go somewhere else for a bit. If you like those books, good for you. It's not for me to decide. I don't think anyone else can really tell you what you can and can't like about warriors, as long as it's not hurting anyone. But if we're talking about objectively the reputation that these styles of books garner in the community, I'd honestly have to agree. Don't get me wrong though, there are definitely absolutely horrible traveling books in my opinion. In fact, a majority of them are, especially in how they depict the tribe, but that doesn't mean that every single book where they go somewhere else has to be bad. And I think a huge part about that generally negative outlook, excluding the tribe of course, is that people aren't yet realizing just how old these books already are. Examples like in The New Prophecy released its final book 16 years ago, which, at least according to YouTube statistics, may even be older than you, the person watching this video. Don't worry if you're not younger than it, by the way, neither am I. And while a traveling book like Darkness Within, which is widely regarded as the worst book in the second most recent arc of the series, The Broken Code, was only released less than 2 years ago as of June 2022, it is now far outnumbered by other traveling books that were released after Omen of the Stars, which itself is now a decade old. The Sun Trail, The Apprentice's Quest, Hawkwing's Journey, and even huge parts of both Tigerheart's Shadow and Greystripe's Vow. While I personally wouldn't rank these as exactly the best of the best, except for maybe Hawkwing's Journey, it's clear to see that, in at least some capacity, being a traveling book doesn't inherently mean that the book is absolutely horrible anymore. At least for warrior cats, that is. But it's okay if you want to disagree with me. Apparently, Ashfur was aiding the plot to kill Firestar and Sunset, but I don't believe he was, considering the only evidence is his fear scent leading to the scene, which leads me to believe he probably just stumbled across the site and ran away scared. Unless I missed something major. Well, to me, it sounds like you've yet to finish the arc after The New Prophecy, and I wouldn't want to spoil that for you. You can find the answer to your question on roughly page 274 of the 5th book in Power of 3, but I wouldn't go looking for that unless you're already past that point in the story. I don't like the fact that Dovewing joined Shadow Clan. She had no chance of reconciling with Ivypool or anything. Over the years, I've gradually come to accept Dovewing as a real part of Shadow Clan. Sure, it was always scary back when the authors went on record to say stuff like, quote, from Aaron Hunter Chat 7, question, does Tigerheart like Ivypaw or Dovepaw? If both, which does he love more? Answer, Kate Carey. Ew, I hope not. He's nasty. I don't even think he thinks of them as individuals, just as a means to his wicked, wicked ends. But both Tigerheart Star and his relationship with Dovewing as a whole has gradually evolved into something quite the opposite over the years. And Dovewing has tried to reconcile with Ivypool before she left in River of Fire, only that Ivypool did nothing but give her the cold shoulder. With what Dovewing went through, especially in Tigerheart's Shadow, I personally believe that she has absolutely earned her place in Shadow Clan, even more so now with the recent changes to the code in A Starless Clan. I was wondering if you could review the A Vision of Shadows arc, because I know there's a lot of controversy in the fandom on whether those books were good or not. I have plans for the future to return to the vast majority of the books that I didn't end up giving a review of while I read them as soon as I can catch up with all of the prequels. As always though, newer books will have priority, and I plan on reading them and getting a review out as soon as I can as they release. So expect to see a video on the new graphic novel Exile from Shadow Clan as early as next week. But don't worry, I have plans to return to Avos in some up-and-coming analyses I have in store for later. The first hot take that comes to mind is still my Iceflight as next River Clan leader theory due to the wording around the feather visions, if the first one wasn't a faked sign, which also seems very likely. That's very interesting. Given how little we know about A Starless Clan so far, I always enjoy seeing theories like these. You can never really say that they're ever wrong. I think you meant Icewing though, and I hate to nag, but I wouldn't want to just give you the passover and have someone tear you apart in the comments. Some people are oddly peculiar about that, after all. Personally, I would love for RiverClan to either stay permanently leaderless and become a democracy, or have Mothwing or even just Frostpaw continue to assume leadership. I don't really care enough about any of the other cats in modern RiverClan other than those two for me to really say that I would actually like it to be anyone else yet. What do you think about the Erran's lack of confirmed LGBTQIA+ characters? This is a very complicated question, and I would much like to tackle this in its own video at some point in the future, but if you want to know what I think about it, all I know is that Kate Carey wanted to make Fire Gray canon, but HarperCollins said no, and let's not forget about Jake or any of that either. That should tell you enough about it. Hot take. The first few books of The Prophecies Begin aren't all that great. Like, yeah, they're memorable and I have a lot of nostalgia for them, but I feel like the story and writing quality doesn't really reach its peak until about Forest of Secrets and on. Still my favorite and most clearly planned of the arcs, but I think we do need to acknowledge that they aren't Warrior's perfection or anything. Nothing in my mind will ever replace my nostalgia for Into the Wild, but The Prophecies Begin is far from perfect. In my opinion, while not terribly bad, Fire and Ice and most of Forest of Secrets is kind of mediocre at best. It's definitely better the first time you read them. Is Jayfeather blind? No. Cinderheart and Hollyleaf is the best ship. Always valid, but I personally enjoy Arrow Ace Hollyleaf. So, one of the Warriors books was called Mapleshade's Vengeance, and after I read about her life and how she lost her kids and her own life, it made me love her and feel bad for her, which made me love the Warriors series. Now, would you read that certain book? I already have, and I quite enjoyed it, just for a different reason. I think Mapleshade is a pretty fun antagonist. It's important to distinguish something wrong from just liking the character or how they're written, though. Feel free to enjoy her however you want. I'd actually love to hear your opinion on shipping in the fandom and in the books. I'm not that into it, but it's an interesting thing to think about sometimes, especially with canon leaving so much up to interpretation. Sometimes I think the simplest answers speak the loudest. All shipping is valid except for people wanting to skirt the law or inflict harm on any one person or thing. Alright, here's a hot take for you. Lion Blaze, in fact, did have a personality. Oh man, you see, I can't just say that you're not wrong, but I don't really think Lion Blaze had much of a character other than, I'm invincible, watch me destroy everything because I'm cool, until like the Broken Code. And I actually really liked Lion Blaze in the Broken Code too. He finally felt flawed, and it really felt like that confidence and aspiration finally got put in check a bit. I'm looking forward to seeing him more involved in the background in the future. Frostpaw is literally just Shadowsight 2.0. Moon, I know you had a lot here, but I'm limiting these to one thing per person. I hope you don't mind me just answering this one. Sorry. The more I think about it, the more this starts to make sense to me. While I've much more enjoyed how Frostpaw is written in comparison to Shadowsight, at least at the moment, you can tell that the majority of the drama is probably going to revolve around her. And with RiverClan's plans to tell the other clans what happened in the latest book, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they all started to hate Frostpaw or conspire against her, because this is warrior cats we're talking about after all. We all know Breespelt is gonna start running his mouth or something as soon as he hears about it, even though he's a fully grown man that has 4 kids now. What are your theories on Bramblestar's odd behavior this arc, that being A Starless Clan? If I remember correctly, River's explanation was that he was still kind of processing what happened to him in the last arc. As much as I don't really like the guy, I think I'd probably be a bit shook over that too, if I were in his position. Does Dovewing have blue or green eyes? Yes. Hot take. Sasha was a terrible mother. I see so much sympathy for her. She chose to go into the forest to deliver her kits despite knowing Tiger Star is there and was no good. She didn't leave once knowing there were dogs, other clan cats nearby, nothing. Sasha had her friend to go to and the man feeding her at the boat. She chose to go where she couldn't provide herself food adequately. What about the kits? She left the kittens alone for long periods of time alone to hunt since she struggled so much. After Tadpole, the kits were ditched at RiverClan and told their evil dad wasn't bad after all. Overall, Sasha made too many poor decisions with flimsy reasoning based off emotion alone that led to it negatively affecting her kits. While everything you said is true and does happen, you have to realize that Sasha didn't really have any other options to begin with. Her housefolk were dead, and of course she didn't know that until far later, but when you have no place left to go, you have to settle with what you can get, especially when you have to keep your kids in mind. Once Sasha chose where she wanted to stay, she'd be risking her kids' lives to go anywhere else when they were that young. And because she had to bear the responsibility of raising them almost entirely on her own, she had to make some pretty tough choices. That being said, that doesn't mean that she's responsible for what happened to Tadpole either. Her kids chose to go off on their own by themselves, even despite knowing that Sasha strictly forbade them from doing so. And it's not like Sasha was just out there doing nothing when this happened either. She was hunting, trying to provide for her family. Being a single parent has a lot of responsibility, and like it or not, there are going to be times where you can't always watch over your kids. There are always sacrifices to be made, and had Sasha known that any of that was going to happen, I'm sure that she would have never even left on that day. Did you ever feel bad for Snowkit/Speckletail? Absolutely. The stuff with Snowkit is honestly one of the most memorable parts about Warrior Cats for me, and I'm sure that it is for a lot of other people too. What are your thoughts on 1-Star getting a Super Edition? I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to see them finally, hopefully, explain in much greater detail on why he ended up completely changing his personality around once he received his 9 lives. Well, you know, other than the fact that they just needed a villain. I know that we kind of already have a half-baked sort of answer in the books, but it could absolutely benefit from a further explanation. Who do you think is the best antagonist in all of Warriors, and what do you hope for upcoming ones? Darktail. I 100% think that it's Darktail. And if you've read Hawkwing's journey before, you'd probably know why. Yeah, the way he went out was really lame both times, unfortunately. But almost everything else about him culminates in the best aspects of all of Warrior Cats' previous antagonists. He has a troubled backstory just like Scourge, the ruthlessness of One Eye or Tiger Star, and the cold, manipulative calculation of what Soul tried so hard to be. And even still, it's almost kind of impossible for you to not hate him. Sure, that's probably going to change a bit with 1-Star Super Edition, but I think that it'll only make him a more dynamic character in return. I hope that we get more morally gray antagonists in the future. Hi, this is my comment war. I think the Twig Branch is a very underrated character and needs more love because of her standing up to Finleap, especially because it is a problem in the real world that women are forced into gender roles and expected to have kids. She is my favorite character because of that, but people don't like her because she didn't have kids. I think her not having kids is a big step for a warrior's role. Anyway, you don't have to use that idea, but I hope you see it. I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, background character obscurity has really killed her off ever since A Vision of Shadows, but that absolutely does not change the significance of this decision for her. I just wish that they would stop making it seem like she's not ready or whatever and just give us the confirmation that she doesn't want kids at all. Warriors needs that kind of representation. Here's a hot take. The community takes these books too seriously. These are silly cat books that are just supposed to be for fun, not overly analyzed with serious subject matter. Warriors was never supposed to become this huge, long-running series. It was intended for children to read about cats in the woods. Just look at the online fandom. Sure, there's some kids here, but it's a lot of older teenagers and young adults, also known as people who can cherry-pick every little issue there is. The fan base is great, but overreacts to everything. I am thrilled these books have been so successful because they helped inspire an amazing online community and have given me a lot of enjoyment over the years. And if people stopped expecting Shakespeare out of this series, they'll find things way more enjoyable. Just enjoy the characters, the storytelling, and of course the Warriors universe itself. It's a lot of fun compared to constantly complaining. If you didn't know, this consensus seems to be shared across a pretty wide margin of the community, and though I don't agree with it myself, I owe you, Ashfur, to pay you the same respect as anyone else and respond to something like this at least once. I understand the sentiment behind what you're saying. I, too, love to read Warriors and enjoy Warrior Cats just as much as anyone else who likes them. I've been reading Warrior Cats since I was little, and I don't think it will ever hold as much of a place in my heart as it does now. When you like something, it's always up to you as the individual to choose how you want to enjoy it. And a part of that choice, as much of anything else, is being critical of that thing that you love or did love. Yes, people can absolutely take it too far, and that goes for anything in this world, but you also have to realize that this is their choice. Nothing for as long as its existence in the entirety of forever until the end of time will ever be universally accepted or appraised, no matter how much convincing you can do or how much love that it gets. So never devalue the power of criticism, even in the rights of your own mind. Because to forfeit that inevitability is only to lose to yourself. Take in things that you want, but always acknowledge the other side of the coin. You may never know just how much you might need to hear it. This week's round of fan art comes from @VictorAutonaut1 and Mukhtar1 on Twitter, both on the right and left, respectively. Thank you two so much for this wonderful art. You can find a link to their accounts as well as a link to mine in the description, and if you have any fan art of your own that you'd like to share with me, tag me in it on Twitter, and I'll shout you out at the end of my next video as well. But that'll do it for me today, guys. If you liked what you see, check out some of the stuff up on screen, and remember to drop a comment down below if you want to see yourself in the next Comment Wars. I'll see you all next time. Later!